This week on the Rutledge Perspective, I want to talk a little bit about persistence. As we come into this last part of the year where we are in this countdown frenzy, Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and New Year's Eve, and not to mention this week, Thanksgiving in the United States, it is a mad rush to the end. And we all do it. It's like this human nature. Like you see all these ants kind of running around, the mad dash for the toys, especially now with the supply chain issues with COVID. It's just a lot of madness. And so that countdown can drive us to be a little nuts here towards the end of the year. And that got me to thinking, as I'm also in that frenzy with family coming in and house to clean and, food to buy because I refused to hit that madness on Wednesday. So today is the day to get the last stuff. And if we don't have it, then we just don't have it because I am not doing the grocery store on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Anyway, I digress. That this time of year also in that countdown frenzy is also a countdown in preparation, right, for the next year. If you're an entrepreneur, it's, do I have everything set up for my 2022? Do I know where I'm going to go for 2022? What am I shifting? What am I changing? If you're in a business, you've gone through the whole budget process, so you're getting set and getting ready for the next year. And now people are going to be out. So how can you get the last little stuff done when everybody's going to be on vacation and you don't want to bother people on vacation? And I mean, it is just kind of this mad countdown to 2022. And we pursue it as if we can just get to the end of the year, then we'll be okay. Forgetting every single time that then January is a whole different kind of madness, right? And so as I was thinking about that and really trying to be mindful, calm myself down, figure out what are the few things I'm going to try to do in this last 6 weeks, 6 weeks of real opportunity to work between now and the end of the year, it really hit me that, this is going into year 5 of LKR Group LLC, right? And Laurel Rutledge and the Rutledge Perspective and the website and the stuff. It's going into year 5. And as I looked at that, as many things as I have shifted, as many times as I've changed, and there's some more shift coming. I'm really excited to announce some things that are going to be coming for 2022 that really are coming out of the work that I have done, not only on me personally with therapy and everything else, but also in getting really clear and consistent and more simple, even in the business, just really, really simple. And there's nothing like redoing your website and having it be clean and looking at it and realizing how much crap is on it, right? That you got to then deliver because you said you were going to, and you got to be a person of your word. So how do you simplify? So those shifts. And what I realized was, as many times as I have, just like I'm sure many of you through your career or through building a business have said, what am I doing? Does this make sense? Does this not make sense? I really don't have time. There's so much other stuff. There's so many things on my list. I just don't know. What am I going to do? What is a common thread around that is persistence. The persistence in the pursuit of the thing that you have committed to. The persistence in showing up, the persistence in just trying to put one foot in front of the other and continuing along the path. And so if we can understand what our ultimate goal is, where we're trying to go, that gives us, as I've said before, right? That gives you an opportunity to make some changes and shift and take detours. As long as you still have your eye on the end goal, then you understand those things are just detours and not derailers. And if you're doing the work to take the time to really understand that. But underlying all of that is this persistence, right? This willingness to just keep going, to keep showing up, to keep making something happen, even if that something is one teeny tiny thing that day. If the only thing you can do that day is get up and grab a cup of coffee and just be in the world, at least you're persistent in doing that. You are continuing to show up some kind of way. You're making one call that day. You are talking to one person. You're doing one thing on your tech or whatever it is. That willingness to be persistent in the pursuit of the thing that you said you wanted. That persistence in getting your row in. Laurel, I'm talking to you. Getting your row in. That persistence in eating clean. That persistence in wanting to be the best that you can be and wanting to serve. That persistence in showing up. And that is something that is deeper and almost more innate than sometimes we think, right? We talk a lot about resilience. We talk a lot about just showing up, right? It's not about perfection. It's about just imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. We talk about those things, especially resilience is a big one. But we don't always talk about persistence and being relentless in the pursuit of whatever it is. Sometimes that is persistence in just getting one project done. Sometimes that is persistence in making sure you are going to the meeting every day. For those who are overcoming something, right? The persistence in getting through that thing every single minute of every single day. You are determined to make something happen. You're determined to get to a place, right? That's what persistence is about. Resilience is that ability to pick yourself up when it doesn't happen the way you want it to happen, right? We just keep going. But persistence is that drive, that real determination that something is going to happen. And I never realized how deep the persistence was until it hit me towards the end of the year. And I'm still looking at this long old list of stuff that still I want to check off. And there's 6 weeks left. And there's no way I'm going to get to everything. There's just no way. It is not a reasonable expectation to get to everything that's on my list. And guess what? Everything doesn't need to be done by the end of the year. And forcing myself to take the time to decide what really must happen by the end of the year, number one. Number two, how can I continue to move forward in progress in imperfect action as opposed to waiting till something is perfect, just failing forward, right? And then three, trusting myself and trusting the timing of everything. Trust is a big deal. It's a really big deal. And you would think by now that I would have even more trust in my instinct. And I know I have a really good gut, but really more trust in my instinct in this entrepreneurial space, more trust in where I'm going, more trust in myself that I'm enough, all of that kind of stuff, because this is going into year 5, y'all. I can't believe it. This is going into year 5 of the business. And I've not yet had to go do anything else. I've not yet had to do, something crazy. And believe me, there have been many a time when I thought I have lost my mind. Everybody else was right. I should just go back and get a job. I should just go do that. It'd be much simpler, much less painful. I just need to go do that. There have been many times like that. Welcome to entrepreneurship. If anybody tells you it's easy, they're lying. But I have persistently pursued this thing. And more important, I've been persistent in the pursuit of clarity. What is it? Persistent in the pursuit of elimination of whatever the roadblocks are, right? Because there's nothing like going out on your own to understand all of those things that are getting in your own way, all of the head trash that you believed, all the stories that happened from years ago that were important survival mechanisms, right? They were important tools in your toolbox in order to do whatever it was you were doing, whether that was in corporate, moving the corporate ladder, really being successful in that area, or just trying to survive because you're in a toxic environment, whatever it was, just life. All of those things that were in your toolbox that helped you survive, what did they create that might now be getting in the way of the pursuit of the other thing that you want, the next thing? And that persistent, that determination, right? Because part of persistence is determination, that determination to do something, that determination to move forward. That persistence in understanding what is blocking, because there's got to be something that's blocking, and the willingness to do the work to figure it out and then persistently push through it. And it's got to be through. You can't go around and over, right? Sometimes you got to go through to get through something, to get to the other side. But being persistent, right? Determined that you are being clear, being persistent in pursuing that quiet time, persistent in pursuing self-awareness, persistent in knowing that you are enough and you have enough, and that this thing that has been put in your heart and on your mind to do really is in your purpose. And it's just a matter of you sitting in that strongly and being willing to do the work, including being resilient to bounce back from whatever setbacks are going to happen, because they are going to happen. Some are going to be smaller than others, and some are going to work really hard to take you out. But either way, if you are persistent in the pursuit of that thing that you're working for, that is one of the things that is going to build that foundation for you to be able to get where it is you say you want to be. And if you say you want to be in service, that is really about that persistent in understanding what solution you provide, persistent in understanding who it is you want to serve, persistent in understanding how you show up and when you show up, and how you acknowledge the times when you just can't, and persistent in self-care and self-awareness, and understanding that sometimes you really do have to put your mask on first if you're going to show up the way you want to show up. Being absolutely relentless in the pursuit of the thing that's been in your heart to pursue. If that thing is to be CEO of a Fortune 100, being persistent in doing what it takes to get there. Saying, I really believe that this is what is meant for me, and I'm going to do everything I can, including the work I need to do on me to get there. And I'm going to be persistent in that self-knowledge and self-awareness to know when I need to take a detour, or when I need to acknowledge that the thing I say I want really is either beyond my capability, or it's beyond my current capability. I could get the additional capability, but I just don't want to, right? I'm not willing to, or it's just not worth it for me at this time. Because we go through those hills and valleys, right? Where sometimes there are other things in life that are just more important at the moment. And so that persistence doesn't mean that you pursue at all costs. That's not what persistent means. Persistent means you keep going. You are relentless in the pursuit of whatever the thing is. But when you surround that persistence in patience, in self-awareness, in a real determination to be clear and to understand the path, right? And where you're going, and to give yourself some grace, and to treat yourself with kindness, and to understand that none of us is perfect. As a coach of mine said, the P in perfection stands for poison. We shouldn't poison our spirits with an idea of perfection. We shouldn't keep comparing our behind the scenes to everybody else's highlight reel as we do in social media. But we should be persistent in the pursuit of that thing that makes us us. The pursuit of that thing that enables us to use our unique gifts to serve in the biggest and the best way we can. We should be persistent in our willingness to learn and to grow and to develop, and to admit when we are not quite there, or that we don't want to, and to be okay with that. Because in that persistence of that truth, the persistence of that trust, we are able to move through and get to that place that we say we want. And we are able to really evaluate whether that place is even still the right place we should be. I really do, as we go into this Thanksgiving week here in the U.S., I really want you to continue for the rest of the month to find that one thing a day that you can appreciate about yourself. I also want you to take the time, if you're in the U.S., to just rest. Hopefully you're able to spend some time with your family. As we have gotten more vaccinations out there, that we're able to do that in a way that's safe, and we don't wind up with super spreaders again this holiday season. I wish for all of you around the world, as we go into this last countdown, some time of rest and reflection, some strength to just pause and to get away from the frenzy and just enjoy the moment that you are in right now. To be able to stop and pause and evaluate, appreciate all that you have, everything that you have been through, the persistence that you have exhibited, the resilience that you have had, and the ability to move forward in clarity, to move forward in strength, and to have such strength and such self-awareness that even if you have to take a detour, you understand that that's just part of the path, because it's all about a flow, right? Just surrendering to that flow. We may or may not get there tomorrow, but if we continue to surrender to the flow and stay aware and stay persistent, we will get there. You know, one of my big goals is to get my doctorate. And part of the issue is I got to decide which one I want to get it in, where I want to go. But it's one of the things I've always wanted to do. I thought it was MD, right? For years and years and years. I thought that's what it was, but it's not. As we grow and we develop, we understand the things that we're really meant to do. And so I've had this conversation with a number of people and other people who are pursuing degrees or certifications or whatever the thing is. And often people will say, oh, but it's going to take me so long. It's going to take me so long. I can't believe it's going to take like 6 years. Well, if we're fortunate, the 6 years are going to pass anyway. So would you rather be at the end of the 6 years with the thing, or at the end of the 6 years just saying, well, I should have done the thing? I think I'd rather be at the end of the 6 years having done the thing. And so this persistence for me, this persistence in staying with my therapy to really address and understand some of the things that are blocking, right? That we never even knew. Nothing like entrepreneurship to bring all that stuff to the forefront. That persistence in pursuing that so that I can be the best I can be to serve the people that I am put here to serve, right? Just like coaches need coaches, therapists need therapists. We all need someone else who is outside of us, who has a vested interest in our health and well-being, but can see with clearer glasses than our clouded selves, right? Being persistent in that pursuit, being persistent in showing up. I wish you the opportunity to really dig into that thing so that you can get clear, that you can get simple, that you can spend some time in gratitude and understand that you are enough. You have everything that you need. You can trust yourself to get there, that you have demonstrated to yourself how resilient you are, how persistent you can be, and to give yourself the gift of that clarity and to move forward. I want to thank all of you so much for continuing to show up, for being a part of the Rutledge Perspective, for being a part of my village. Please continue to pass this on, to share it with others who may get something from it. I will continue to show up. I will be persistent in the pursuit of all of you, right? And doing what I can to make you and help you understand you are not crazy. You are absolutely enough. You have everything it needs and you have choices. All of that is true. Have a fantastic week. Thank you for tuning in. I encourage you to listen to the other episodes. This is episode number 103, I think it is. And I encourage you to listen to the other episodes. I'm sure there's something in there that can give you a little spark to shore up your persistence, to encourage and uplift your resilience. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. You've been watching The Rutledge Perspective. Thank you for tuning in. If we have given you a different perspective, or if you've learned something new that you hadn't thought about before, please subscribe to the Rutledge Perspective podcast where you get your favorite podcasts, and give us a like on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher. We really appreciate it. And your feedback is important as well, as we use that to inform our next episodes. You can also head over to my website, laurelrutledge.com, and download a freebie called Where's My Mojo that can really help you get out of your rut or maybe talk you back off that ledge of frustration. You can also find previous episodes of The Rutledge Perspective on laurelrutledge.com. I really appreciate your tuning in. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.